welcome to my channel. My name is Nikita Antoine, and today we'll be doing a message for the sign of Aries. As always, Aries, all of the readings, they are timeless. So when the message finds you and resonates, and it will be yours at the time in which you find it. Aries, I've done your spread today with my usual deck. It's the Ethereal Visions, the Dreamscape Oracle, and that's interesting, the Luna Tarot, all blended into one. All right, so, I'm actually thinking about how I'm usually facing the cards out like this. And now I'm doing this. So I'm wondering if that has any significance. I often see the backs of the cards as something that, well, is not yet revealed. And I feel like for you, Aries, maybe everything has been revealed. Everything has been revealed for you. I don't know if you know that yet. You might not know that yet. But it does seem to me like all the cards on the table have been revealed. Which kind of means that you can use everything that is at your disposal to be able to move in any direction that you want to. It's like it's coming through as the world is your oyster, which is very interesting because the oyster I often see as memories that are being pulled up from the depths of the ocean. And of course, the memory would be the pearl. So there's a pearl or some type of gift. I actually want to call it a gift of enlightenment, because all of the cards have been displayed out in front of you. And if you follow my Instagram, you'll actually see on my story that I just posted a thing on my story that was talking about what it looks like to catch enlightenment. And it was actually a man who was catching a baseball while he was also holding a baby and holding a beer. And so it's like you have all of these other things that are going on in your life, and it seems like maybe if it's even just for a split second, to just drop all of that for a split second, catch this ball of enlightenment, and then it's like those things that you had dropped, you didn't actually drop. They're going to be like caught back up again. So that's interesting. That's getting caught back up again. That, I feel like that theme came out a while ago. Maybe it was in the moon readings. But Aries, it does look like you are stepping out of the norm. You're going in a totally different direction from what the societal standard is. It seems as though it's more of a process. So if there is a stepwise process in how someone would go about doing a certain activity, it's actually coming through as work, a certain type of work, you're doing it in a different way. And it's like you're beating what is that saying that goes like you're beating your own drum or something like that? You beat the beat to, I can't remember. Anyways. All right, so at the bottom of the deck, all right, we have the Death Mother. The Death Mother. Okay. The Death Mother. The Death Mother is coming through as your underlining energy, and it's actually, perhaps maybe this is actually the influence that is turning you in a different direction, something very unusual than what others, or even what you deem as the societal standard. I mean, it's it's vastly different from what is expected of you. And I often see this, you see this cord here, it's like going into her ears. It's like there's something that is, it's like it's speaking to you. There's something that is speaking to you and shifting your direction. Is shifting your direction. Okay, so because I'm actually trying to navigate as to whether or not this shift in the direction is one that would be beneficial for you. Or like, is this underlining energy one that is telling you to shift in this new direction because it will be beneficial for you, even though it is against normalcy? Or is it that you are going against normal structures, normal societies, societal standards, and this is like an energy that is trying to pull you back into the fold, or something along those lines? Okay, and I say that because the skull, any type of skull or like bones, those things, for me they represent ancestry, and ancestry usually is an energy that is of the past. And if you are looking at the societal standard of things, of course that would be influenced by the past, by your ancestors, by those that have come before you who know the track very well and are in a sense guiding you along that way. But okay, so now it kind of looks like you've gotten some type of new insight. There's some new insight for you that has come in that is strongly pulling you in an opposite direction, and maybe perhaps it's looking at like an opposition to others. On the bridge, we have the Ace of Swords, and this is gorgeous because whatever direction this is, it is a part of your it's coming through as your true nature. And Aries, actually, the Aries energy is a trailblazing energy. So they do tend to take the path that is less well, it's actually not traveled at all. There is no traveling that has been along that path or that bridge, and therefore it is Aries' duty to be able to create that trail, to create that vision, especially with the Ace of Swords. It's like you, Aries, are the visionary for this new trail that you're taking. Even though everyone else, perhaps maybe in your world, might be telling you to not go that way. It's like, why would you go off the trail? Why would you leave the trail in order to fight your way through the brush of the forest? That doesn't seem safe, right? So perhaps it's like maybe there are others that are around you that, even like your ancestors, or it might not even be coming through as ancestors. It's kind of coming through as like those who are older than you, perhaps presenting themselves as more mature than you, are like telling you perhaps maybe that's not safe. That's not safe. That's actually not safe to do. But I'm wondering, we were speaking of that oyster, and it's also not very safe to deep dive. But if you were to do that, there's something that you're going to find. It's presenting itself as some sort of enlightenment. It's kind of like if you were to deep dive and you find that oyster and then you find this gorgeous pearl, or if you come off the trail and you fight through the brush in the woods and then you find this beautiful meadow or something like that. It's like something that no one else has ever seen before. All right, so let's get an overall energy for Aries. Here we have, this is the Empress. Your overall energy as the Empress, this is actually very beautiful because in your spread today, we have the Emperor as well. And it's not talking, first of all, it's not talking about any type of divine connection or divine relationship. It's talking about two different ways of doing some type of process or getting somewhere. And for you, Aries, with your overall energy being of the Empress, what's coming through is that you are being divinely guided by your feminine gifts. This rose here, I don't even think it's a rose, it's actually like a pomegranate flower, something along those lines. It doesn't matter. The flower here talks about your psychic gifts. The Empress is usually one that is giving the awareness of a psychic gift that you have. And your psychic gift today is coming through as your internal divine feminine guidance coming up through the surface and directing you. And it seems as though it's directing you along a brand new path, one that, with the Emperor being here and us talking about society, structure, things of that nature, the rules of engagement, all of those things that essentially keep us in a box, if you will, in a very safe box. You're turning away from that. You are following your internal guidance, and you are turning. It actually looks like you're turning away, perhaps from your more action-oriented and reasonable mind. And that's why perhaps maybe this looks very unsafe to those around you, because there's no logic in it. There's nothing that says, I'm doing this because of this. It's coming through as maybe that, like, there's no rhyme or reason. You're just following your intuition. And with you showing up here as the Page of Wands, you're depicted in blue, which lately in the readings has been talking about, well, initially, we as a collective were perceiving it as an illusion, as something that is, well, it's a false reality, something that is a false reality. But as everything has started to progress, there's something about this illusion or false reality that's actually bridging us into a new space, a new way of perceiving the world around us. And because we're perceiving the world around us in a different type of way, we as a collective, and you, of course, Aries, are deciding to take different paths or choosing different actions than you normally would. There's something about this that is incredibly unexpected. It's almost like the shift. It's like the shift changed overnight. Oh, okay. It's actually really interesting because I believe it was yesterday. either yesterday or it's actually happening today. We just had the shift into Libra season, and I believe it's also the autumn equinox as well. So it's like there's a sudden shift that's happening in the collective, and it looks like it's starting with you, Aries. And you are in the midst of charting a brand new adventure, one that no one has ever been on before. You have no idea what to expect from this, and neither does anyone else, but you're bravely taking it on. It's really gorgeous. You're bravely taking it on. And with the Emperor that's coming up behind you, okay, that's what this is. I was questioning as to whether or not this influence is one that is trying to pull you back into the fold, back into the standards, or is it one that is actually promoting you to move forward? And it looks like, okay, so this Emperor, the one that is behind you, the one that might be perhaps, okay, so it's going to be very subtle. It's almost coming through like a subliminal message, something like that. So your conscious mind might not realize that it is being directed by this Emperor energy. And the Emperor energy could, it could be represented as a person that's in your life. It might be a masculine energy that is trying to guide you because they are so successful. They believe that their way is the way to create, and it's actually coming through as like dominate their world, dominate their creation. It's like having power over their creation, which is very different from this Empress energy, which has more of a sovereignty over their creation. There's a distinction that's because both of them are creator beings. However, one is more of like a dominance and power, and the other one is talking more about intuition and sovereignty. So it seems like you are using this a new method, and there's something about this Emperor that, well, they actually see you as like a younger version of themselves. They see you as a younger version of themselves, and they're remembering actually when they caught that ball, of enlightenment, and what they did with it in order to establish themselves in the world and become a pivotal structure in the it's coming through as like in the network. Like they've made a name of themselves because of how they utilized this ball of enlightenment that they caught. So what's interesting here though is that when you do look at the Emperor closer, you see that his hand is covering up the top of this Ankh. And the symbolism of an Ankh, it symbolizes, well, very briefly, it symbolizes life. It symbolizes actually the creation of life. And with his hand being over this top portion of it, the top portion represents the feminine energy. It represents the womb, whereas this bottom portion here represents the masculine energy or the more phallic structure. And because his hand is covering the top of that womb area, or the ankh, or the vessel as to which things are created, what it's referring to is that like, yes, although he has created his world for himself, there's something that he's missing. There's something that he's missing. And the thing that is missing seems to be perhaps maybe this Empress energy. It's like there's a missing element in his magic, because we have the Magician coming here next. So you can see here that if we look at this as the top of the ankh, and like this as that more masculine or phallic structure, there's a very large portion of the magic that is being missed out on. And it seems like maybe perhaps you're actually noticing that. You're actually noticing that. And because of that, you're making different decisions. You're going against the norm. And so for this one here, there's something about how I looked it up the other day. I actually split the ankh up into two separate pieces. It was in my own studies. I split the ankh up in two separate pieces, and I came to the conclusion that it's like the Om symbol for the womb, which talks about the all. It encloses everything. Whereas I can't remember what it's, the I, but it's called iota. Iota? Yeah, iota. It's a Greek letter, iota, and iota actually means a very small. It's a very small portion. And then, of course, when they come together, it's almost like it kind of refers to being a small piece within a whole, referring to the individuation of wholeness. I hope that makes sense. So there's something about this former strategy or former plan that society deems as the proper way to go about things, and it has something to do with the more singular focus on iota, or individuality. And when you look at the Magician, if you take out the Magician here, there's actually the only thing that is here is the title. That's it, just the title. No, there's nothing like behind it. There's no space for the actual magic to be created. It's just a title. And that's kind of what this is talking about here, is that perhaps, okay, so what I'm receiving as an example is actually like going to college, going to school, and doing all of your studies very in a way of gaining like book smarts. And then, of course, once you graduate, you now have the title of whatever position you were studying. However, the element that is being missed here is the actual like application of these studies, the actual application of these studies. So it's like you could study magic all you want. Say you are a person who studies magic and how to, or studies things like how to manifest, things along those lines. And it's like you have the title of the magician because you do have all of the knowledge of how to operate, but there's no practical application. It's like, it's more like this approach here is talking about a real life, like street smarts. That's what it's referring to. Real world experience. That's what this, like actually going out there and doing what you've learned without a title. That's what the distinction here is, without a title. There's something about here about how the title doesn't mean anything. The title is just a title. Like you could have the title and not actually know how to do any of this stuff. But if you know how to do all of the stuff, then the title actually doesn't matter because you're proficient in whatever you are doing, whatever this process or whatever this work is. And what I'm seeing here at the end of your reading is that you are showing up in this gorgeous strength. It's like that's kind of like actually one of your strengths, is realizing that the titles that people hold don't actually mean much. They don't actually mean much because it's just a small, it's an iota of the true nature of whatever that title entails, the details of that title. And it's that strength of yours that is going to be able to take you in this new direction. The thought process, the idea and the belief, it's actually not a belief. It's coming more through as a knowing, because belief also implies that it has the potential of not being real. But that's not the case here. There's a knowing in you where you are realizing that titles actually don't matter. That it's what you do, not who you say you are. All right, Aries. I will be pulling some more cards for you. And if you're interested, I can already see where the message is going to be going. So I highly recommend that you watch the extended with me. You will find the link for that in the description box, and I'll see you there. Bye.